Hi there, it's Jessica Sahlquist with Best Year Ever Group with Team Optimize Spokane. So we had our second event yesterday on fundamentals, including eat, move, and sleep. And I promised you, if you did attend or you were online, that I would go over some of the steps that I talked about in more detail, the ones that I had to get through quickly. And I was going to show you the bonus activity, which you can see here. We kind of got through step 1, step 2, mostly through step 3, but I'm going to reference step 3 today, which is preparation to prevent. So you're going to prepare things so that you can prevent things from happening. Hi, Rosie. Thanks for watching. So what I would like to do is finish that part, step 3. See if I have any time to get into step 4 and the rest of them, but I wanted to show you that bonus activity also, which I will get to. So step 3 is prepare to prevent. And with that, I talked about preparing to go to events and different things that you want to make sure that you have the tools in your imaginary, fictitious tool belt, but you really in your bag of your supplies that you need so that you can eat healthy at the events, the things that you go to. I do know friends that bring food to restaurants and they let them know that, hey, I've got all these allergies and food issues that I don't think I can eat anything here. So there's a lot of places that you can bring your own food and be prepared. So let's prevent any of those things that make us sick or any diseases by the food that we put in our mouth. And so we did talk about the Shmee of Me, which was step 1. We talked about the step 2, which was accountability. Hi, Cindy. And we now are going to talk about the step 3, prepare to prevent. And so with that, what I didn't get into yesterday, so I told you I was going to do more of a non-traditional approach to the eating part and talk about our relationship with food and how we get to know ourselves. And the big thing I spent most of the time on is being the subject matter expert of you, the Shmee of me. And that's what's most important. That should drive us into a success of what we need for ourselves, not what we need for anyone else, not that external Shmee, subject matter expert. I can be a subject matter expert of so many things, but I want to be a subject matter expert of me, Shmee of me. So I'm going to use that term only from the rest of the video so that you guys can relate to the Shmee of me. And hopefully you can hashtag that or say it. It's something that I absolutely love, and I'm going to be the Shmee of me. So I'm going to take that internally. So what I wanted to do is share with you some of the things that I did not get to in step 3. And that was actually the conversation we have about food. And I am not here at all to say to you what kind of food you should eat, what diet plan you should be on. I really, really, really encourage you to find out what's best for you. And that is doing these steps that I'm going to be going through, like the tracking and journaling and understanding what foods interact with your body and how you feel, and does it make you fatigued? Do you have itchy skin? Do you have a hard night's sleep? A lot of these things can impact your sleep, which Jessie told us yesterday is the pillar that holds up the eating and the moving, right? And I said in my video that I did on Friday for Quest Friday that I realized that sleep was the most important fundamental that we talked about, because I couldn't function well without sleep. I can go much longer without food and much longer without movement than I can without sleep. So they're all correlated. They all impact each other, and we encourage you to work on them equally and move forward because they support each other so much, and the sleep is the pillar that holds up the eating and moving, that we want you to make sure that you focus on that. So I know that we could sit here for days and debate about eating keto or being a vegetarian or paleo or doing Whole30 or being a vegan or not eating this and eating that. And I know that each one of us could come up with probably 5 to 10 different studies that shows and that will prove that our eating plan is the best. And these are eating plans. These are not diets. These are lifestyle changes. They are little small steps, which is super important to take. We talk about broad topics, but make sure you're breaking them down into little small steps so you can be successful. We don't want you to reach for the stars and say, I'm doing this tomorrow, and have no preparation, because you are not going to prevent anything if you're going to snap your fingers and think that you're going to get it done today. So I'm here to just share with you some of the common food topics and content that almost everyone, no matter what type of food you eat, if you're doing paleo, keto, or like I said, vegetarian, that you can most likely agree with. I do not want this to be confrontational. I don't want it to be like this is better than that, but I'm going to go over some key concepts that I think we can all agree on. So the first one is sugar. We know that we consume so much sugar, and that is a cause and the root of so many diseases and so much chronic illness that people have to deal with all the time. Hi, Darren. So we want to make sure that we are being mindful of that we're not eating a ton of sugar and making ourselves sick. So too much sugar is going to not be a great decision for you. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to decrease your sugar, or are you going to limit your sugar? You know, sugar is in everything. It feels like it's in everything. You know, when you go buy ketchup at the store, or when you go buy barbecue sauce at the store, you know, there's sugar in it. So look at your labels and read if there's added sugar, and maybe choose to just stay away from things that are added sugar. There's going to be natural sugar in a lot of things, and I'm not telling you not to eat fruit. That's not something that I would do. But I'm talking about all of that added sugar. As Americans, we consume so much sugar, and it's making us sick. You know, people talk about addiction, and they talk about, they think just immediately drugs and alcohol, and sugar and food can be just as much as an addiction as any kind of drug. I know it, our family knows it. Darren and I both love sugar. And what happens with sugar is it's kind of, I call it my gateway drug, because if I have a small bite of some processed sugar laden, even chocolate, you know, milk chocolate or milk chocolate mixed with something else. And we love chocolate almonds in our house. So that is something that we have to be mindful of. But once I put one bite into my mouth, I've opened the floodgates for me to continually consume it all evening long. And I don't know when to stop. So my best defense is, my preparation to prevent is just not having it. I'd rather go in 100% than 99% to leave that 1% air and that 1% that potentially I could fail at. It causes a lot of stress for me. So sugar, I talked about sugar. We all know that it's something that we all probably can work on. If you're drinking pop, if you're drinking fake sugar, those are things that I think all diet plans and lifestyle plans can agree upon. Another one is processed foods. So I know that the industrial and the agricultural age has really created this instantaneous gratification to have food at our fingertips. You know, we have, if you look in your cupboards, I challenge you to do that after you're done here. Go look in your cupboards and see how many things you have pre-packaged that you use all the time. And they're convenient. We're busy. We have a lot of things going on. We have jobs, we have families, we have so many responsibilities, and life is moving so fast. But when you look in your fridge and you look in your cupboards, notice what's in there. Is there fresh fruit and fresh vegetables in your fridge or on your counter? Even frozen is going to be better than canned. We got to be careful of the nutrients. So imagine a processed box of, maybe, I'm just going to say macaroni and cheese. I'm not dissing on mac and cheese or anything like that, but imagine how many hands that touched. Imagine how many potential processed and preservatives that is put into that. I mean, when you read your labels, you can see if it's more than 5 ingredients, holy cow, you know it's super processed, right? Those food colorings, those dyes. We're one of the few countries that do not ban certain food colorings and dyes in our food because it is not healthy. So Be careful with your processed foods. If that's the one thing that you want to work on, then make that be the one thing. Again, starting small. Pick one of these things. I'm not saying pick all of them. I'm just saying pick one. If you want to work on saying, hey, I'm going to have one unprocessed meal a week, then do that. And then build on it. Then you can be successful. Celebrate your wins along the way. Make sure that you are celebrating what you are doing so that you can continue that momentum and then add more, add more, add more. Make it 2 meals, make it 3 meals. You know, it's really hard to go out to dinner and not have processed foods. I totally understand that. I've been trying to do research in town to find out if there are places that are super healthy, and there's a few in town. Definitely, but it's really hard to not find places that don't use vegetable oils. Hi, Raina. Darren is on also, and he's showing me images of donuts that's Darren's issue, is he loves donuts. Even gluten-free donuts those can even still be a problem. I eat gluten and dairy-free, and the struggle I had when I transitioned into that was that there was such a huge growth of gluten-free items that I couldn't control my consumption of gluten-free and dairy-free items. But they're all, again, super high in sugar. So let's try to stay away from them. Okay, I talked about packaged processed foods. I talked about sugar. And now I want to talk about the vegetable oils that I just mentioned. Sunflower and safflower oils. Those oils, for a lot of people, cause inflammation. And so I don't know if you ever notice like your hands after you eat, when they kind of turn red or they get itchy or they feel stiff and you're like, what's wrong with my joints? You feel that inflammation literally happening in your body. I'm pretty in tune with my body, so I can eat something and literally within 30 seconds to a minute, I'm like, uh-oh. And you think that would stop me most of the time from putting those things in my mouth, because I know that's going to happen, and it's still a struggle. So I am going to go back to the shmi of me, and that's being in tune with your body. Be in tune with your body. Take the accountability so that you can take the action to make those decisions. So vegetable oils, sunflower and safflower. There's avocado oil. There's olive oil. There's other oils that work better for you. Look at the labels. Make sure that you can cook them at the temperatures that you want to cook them for the best results. But again, going out to dinner, super hard not to go to a restaurant that doesn't have sunflower and safflower and some of those vegetable oils that cause so much inflammation. Also with inflammation causes depression. Foods impact what you're feeling. It can produce brain fog. Hi, Allison. Brain fog and depression and not feeling well at all. So do your research. Be your shmi of me. Do your research on these things. Understand the foods that aren't making you feel good. Start to pin down that food item that's not making you well, okay? And that's why you want to eat foods that don't have so many ingredients on the box. Because how are you going to find out? For one, how are you going to pronounce one of the words? And for two, how are you going to do research when you have 50 ingredients on the box? Which one of those 50 ingredients is causing me harm? Well, probably a lot of them. But how are you going to pinpoint what's making you feel bad? Hey, so I would like to move on to the things that I want you to do more of. What we want you to do more of, what research tells you to do more of. This is not I did not make this stuff up. Again, for those of you joining, I'm only talking about a lifestyle of food and eating that we all can agree upon. We all can agree upon, because I'm not telling you to be paleo or keto or be a vegetarian or eat this or eat that way only, okay? Because you have to find out what's best for you. So what I would like to encourage you, though, at the same time, again, what we can agree upon is your plate. When you are dishing up your plate at a restaurant, at home, what's on your plate? Are you just piling on the meat only and you're just carnivoring it up? I mean, I know there's a carnivore diet out there, and there's definitely studies to show that that's great, and there's studies to show it's not great, and I'm not, again, getting into that. But what's on your plate? Do you have just meat and starches? Or do you have vegetables? There is a quote by Michael Pollan, and he wrote the book Food Rules, which I recommend for everybody. Food Rules, R-U-L-E-S, Michael Pollan, P-O-L-L-A-N. And he has a quote. It says, eat food, meaning real food, not a box of something, right? Not too much, meaning you don't have to fill your plate, gobs, like no one's coming to take it away from you, right? No one's gonna, it's not gonna vanish if you don't eat it super quick, right? Those smaller portions might be better for your gut and your digestion. So eat food, not too much, mostly plants. I'm not saying be a vegetarian. I am just saying mostly plants. So let's go back to our plate. I'm going to show you the little drawing that's so amazing on the board here. See where it says veggies? Talking about veggies here. And here's your plate. We want mostly veggies on your plate. Put mostly veggies on your plate. And you want to know the most calorie dense, most nutritious vegetables that you can put on your plate? Those are the green leafy vegetables, the romaine lettuce, the Swiss chard, the broccoli, the spinach. If you don't like any of those, well, what are you putting on them? How are you making them flavored? There are some amazing spices out there. Lemon, pepper, salt. If you can, those are super basic ones, but you can squeeze fresh lemon on something. You can squeeze lime. You can use balsamic vinegar and oil. I love butter. I'm not giving up butter. Butter is a great fat for me. I love it. My whole family loves it. That's just one of those bright lines that I am committed to continuing to eat at this point. I don't eat gobs and gobs of it, but if I want some butter on my broccoli, I'm going to put butter on my broccoli. So allow yourself to have some of those good things, like the olive oil. Drizzle olive oil on your vegetables. It's super good. And yes, Darren, salt is great on your vegetables too. I have to share one little funny fact is that my husband, Darren, doesn't really like vegetables. And so I have to disguise them in some of the foods. And so we do a lot of mixtures and casseroles and yeah, I know, right, Allison? We do a lot of Instapots where I kind of disguise it in there and make it kind of seem like it's a piece of meat or something, but he's getting better at it and making progress every day. And we know that vegetables are super, super important. So we'll continue down that road and make those small steps so we can be successful and say, that's like me. I won. Woo, I'm a winner, and celebrate. So again, what's the biggest portion on your plate? Make it be vegetables, please. It's super awesome. You're going to feel good. Again, another challenge. If this is your one thing that you want to do for the next month, say, okay, 2 days a week, I'm going to put more vegetables on my plate for dinner, and then add for dinner and lunch. Breakfast might seem weird to people, but I honestly, when I travel, the easiest thing for me to eat is a big old salad for breakfast. I love salad for breakfast. There's no rules of what you can eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So eat more vegetables. And then, so the next thing that I do want to talk about, I have this really awesome, not a quiz, but a question for you guys. And for you guys that are on right now, there's about 5 of you. If you can answer this would be super awesome. So, super easy and simple. What do you think per 100 calories has the most protein? Broccoli or steak? I'm going to give you a second. Broccoli or steak? What do you think has the most protein per 100 calories? Let's hear let's see your answers. Broccoli or steak? Okay, there's lots of conversation. Allison's putting a salad for Darren. He will eat salads, which is great. So Allison said broccoli. Raina said steak. So for every 100 calories, what has more protein out of broccoli and steak? Rosie said broccoli. It was mind-blowing for me. I've always been like meat, nuts, legumes. Allison said broccoli. Yes. Broccoli has more protein than steak per 100 calories. So broccoli has 11.2 grams of protein per 100 calories. That is 3¼ cups. And that isn't really a lot once you cook that down. That is what can cover most of your plate. So 3.2 grams of protein in broccoli per 100 calories. Steak has 5.4 grams of protein per 2 to 3-ish ounces, depending. This is about here, 3 ounces, but it's a little less than that. So that was mind-boggling to me. I was like, I can get my protein in if I stick a bunch of veggies on my plate and then I'm still gonna eat my protein. I love protein. I'm still gonna eat some of the starchy, sweet potatoes, stuff like that. So yes, broccoli, can you believe it? Broccoli, doesn't that encourage you to want to eat broccoli? I don't know. Is there anyone that doesn't like broccoli? And if vegetables cause you gas, because this is a topic, if vegetables cause you gas, are you cooking it? Because sometimes when you cook it, it actually is better than eating raw. I have a hard time eating raw vegetables. So cook it up, put some good stuff on it. Rosie said broccoli and cheese was her favorite food when she was little, which I imagine that's pretty amazing. And what kind of cheese was it? Because I grew up with big blocks of cheddar, but we loved Velveeta when I was younger. And I don't buy Velveeta anymore, but I do remember Velveeta, and it was pretty amazing because it melted and it was very processed. But Allison also said, I love broccoli. Yay, we all love broccoli. So we know we can do broccoli. There's a lot of other vegetables out there. But like I said, broccoli, Swiss chard, romaine, and spinach are the most calorie dense. They have amino acids. They're going to be probably the most healthiest, one of the healthiest vegetables for you guys to consume. And you can eat a lot of spinach because once you cook it down, it shrinks into nothingness. So the last thing I want to do too, I'm just going to show you my little drawing here. It's so neat. So the standard American diet and the modern American diet was created in this industrial agricultural age when we decided we wanted to have food super fast. And that's when the boxing industry happened. And also with the fact that, all these huge factories are making our food. And I'm wondering, if you really research the regulations, they do allow like small, interesting things in there that you probably want to know when you're eating those boxed foods. But standard American diet and modern American diet, do you see the abbreviations for that? It's SAD and it's MAD. And that really makes me think standard American, modern American diet, like those abbreviations are SAD and MAD. So that is a sign to me, like, I better stay away from that. Figure out what's best for you. Again, shmee of me. I'm going to go back to our steps here so that we can see them. So step 1, be the shmee of me. You are the expert of yourself. You can do it. Step 2, accountability. Take accountability for your actions. Know what you need. Do the research. Plan ahead, which is step 3, prepare to prevent. Get your tool belt out, stick your food items in it, be prepared. So the other ones that I'm going to talk about in the next couple weeks, I'll go into mindfulness a little more, the step 4. I'll go into the tracking and journaling a little more for step 5. Step 6, we had a quick conversation about the kryptonite and keystone, and step 7 is the application. But I did promise you the bonus activity today. So this is the finale of the bonus activity. So if you have your workbook, get it out, or, if you're going to look at this later, then get it out later. If you didn't attend and you want the workbook that Lori created, which is super awesome, that you can read through and be able to follow along with, and it has some great activities and different things in there that you can track. Pull that out, and it's on the page also. So you can print that out and look at that yourself. But I'm going to give you this page. This is page 6, okay? And that's where that Michael Pollan quote is, eat food, not too much, mostly plants, okay? Hi, Rebecca. So the application. So in this first box, you're going to write what you're going to eat or do more of when it comes to food and eating. And it's not just about food, like I said yesterday. It's about the triggers. It's about the people you're around. It's about the places you go. If you go to a restaurant and you know that there's things there that you just can't stay away from, maybe don't go there. A lot of times I will think in my head, okay, I know what I want. I'm going to tell the server what I want, and I'm not even going to look at the menu. Because if I look at the menu, oh my gosh, I have no willpower. I don't want to rely solely on my willpower. I want to prevent, right? So don't look at that menu. Or I think Weight Watchers gave this idea a long time ago, but get a to-go box when you get your food. Say, when you bring me my food, give me a to-go box, and I'm going to put half of it in there, and then take it home. Okay? It's just preparing so that you can be super successful. So in this box, like I said, you're going to write down, eat, do more of. In this box, you're going to say, eat, do less of. What are the habits? What are the actions? What are the things that you're doing that you want to do less of? Okay, now we talked about sugar. We talked about processed foods. We talked about sunflower, safflower oil, vegetable oil. We talked about if you want to eat more vegetables, you can add that here. We talked about if you want to eat more green leafies. The one thing I didn't talk about, you have willpower, Allison. That's not true. You just got to prepare, combine it together, and then you're like, voila, success. The one thing that was interesting to me, what I read about too, is that hydration. A lot of times we have masked hunger pains and we think we're super hungry, but instead it's actually because we are not drinking our waters. And so keep that in mind too. Say, hey, when I feel hungry, maybe that's your thing that you want to do more of. When I'm hungry, I'm going to drink some water. Give myself 5 minutes because I might have just eaten an hour ago. There's so many times that I have hunger pains and I'm like, I just ate. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just thirsty. So keep that in mind too. Being dehydrated also causes some mild brain fog, and you don't want that either. So and then here on the bottom, you have this area. It says, not now, maybe later. And this is that area where you're like, I don't know where I want to go with this. I don't know where I want to go with this, and maybe I want to put it on hold. I don't want to completely commit to anything with that right now. And then in this bottom column, you have omit. This is the one thing that you are going to omit. Maybe something that you said you're going to do less of. You're going to move it to the omit. Or there's that one thing that you're like, well, I really shouldn't do that anymore. I shouldn't even do less of it. I just am not going to do it anymore. Put that in this box here, okay? So what we didn't get a lot of time to spend on yesterday too was accountability calendar. This is the tool that we've been talking about for the last couple weeks or months. This is the tool that we want you to choose the one thing. If eating, moving, or sleeping is where you need to focus on your one thing, pick something from one of those categories. If it's not eating and you're awesome at eating and you're doing a great job, then don't pick the eating part. Pick if you're having an issue with sleep or you're not having any movement at all. Pick those things. But if it is eating, then use your calendar. Put down that one thing that you want to do every day on here, or not do every day. Your keystone or your kryptonite, right? That we talked about yesterday. But put it on here. And then when you do it and you're successful, put a big old X there. Put a big old X there. So when you look back and reflect, you can see all your X's and everything that you can look back and say, that's like me, and celebrate, okay? We want to see a lot of X's on here, but do not be discouraged if there's not an X on a few days, because failing is faithful attempts in learning, right? Faithful attempts in learning. We just get back on the horse again, right? I think there's a quote. It's okay to suck. It's not okay to skip. So let's be mindful of that. So I went through a lot today. I had the 20 minutes yesterday and I said, gosh, it's really hard to get all this information in such a short time. And you can just tell I picked one step today and that bonus activity to talk about. And I was probably babbling for quite some time. So next Sunday is my personal post day. I'm going to go back into some of the other steps. We're going to combine maybe step 4 and step 5 for mindfulness and tracking and journaling. And we will go into that a little more. And hopefully soon, Tanis is going to do a little video on journaling. Something really basic to get you all going if you're not doing it yet. So thank you so much for sticking around. I appreciate you guys completely. Please leave any comments of things that you would like to know more about with the food. I love talking about food and eating, and I've done a ton of research. And so I just want to be mindful too. And something for me is that I can practice theory all day, but if I don't apply it, I will never become a master when it comes to eating. So theory, practice, plus practice, plus practice, plus practice, plus practice, plus practice, and then mastery. So I'm still in that practice phase. So please be kind to yourself. Please know that you guys rock, and just go out there and be informed. Be the Shmi of me. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And we are going to have another awesome event coming up in March, second weekend in March. We're going to talk about some more awesome fundamentals, prosper, patience, and gratitude. I'm so excited. So see you guys later. Take care. Have an awesome week. Bye. Best year ever.